Welcome back to This Takes the Cake. I'm Jackie from South Florida, and this is
Lauren from Chicago.
Yes, I think it's great that we're doing it. We never get to do it together. We never get to see each other as much.
And we have a playful, we love each other.
We do love each other. We like talk probably weekly, if not every other day.
Sometimes daily. But no, I feel like we love each other's state, but we have a playful, like.
Yeah, we do. We have like a sisterhood for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think we're always close to certain people, but we like as soon as we met, and we met how many years ago now?
3
years ago.
A little over.
You came down to Jupiter.
Yep.
And Sarah was like, oh, I want you to meet this new girl who's taking Chicago. And I was like, ew, I don't know if I like her. I don't want to hang out with strangers. And then
I instantly won you over.
As soon as you won me over because you were like, hi, I'm Lauren. Do you want to do a shot? And I was like, I love her.
Yeah.
I secretly love her.
Well, I like to party and plan parties.
So we're talking about today a little bit about why we're here today, because everybody's in town this weekend, which is really exciting. We got to hang out. We got to have dinner. Building. Yeah, team building. We did the Bridal Expo, which was a lot of fun. We got to do the Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Bridal Expo. All of our team comes together. We try to do at least once a year, I think.
At least once a year, yeah.
Where everybody comes together. And we did that, and then we did our photo shoot and our new promo video.
So fun.
Which was fun. We got to meet new people that I won't talk about now, but we got to meet some new faces. And now we're talking about the Beach First City, because you're all city. And I think you have different challenges wedding planning than I do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just the parking and transportation and things like that.
How's parking?
Rough. I feel like depending on where you are in this city, but we have a lot of parades. There's sometimes protests. You know, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the city, especially in the summer. So parking, transportation is a huge challenge. So
how does that work for you? Like when you have like all the bride stuff and you're carrying it to the wedding, and you have like because you do like the rooftop weddings a lot, no?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we do. Or hotel weddings or industrial warehouse vibes. So each venue has its own challenge, but I would say that I just start a little earlier because I just have to factor in how many flights of stairs, is the elevator going to be working, or, you know, different things. You know, I know most of the venues, so I can kind of go into the day with a plan, but as you know, things come up. So I think I always just kind of start about 30 minutes to an hour earlier to factor in any of the challenges, if it's with valet at a hotel, if it's, you know, carrying boxes
and things like that. So in my hotels, I mean, I do a little bit of city down in Miami and things like that, but same thing with beach weddings. Like there's really not vendor parking. It's like pay on the beach, or, you know, you pay by parking and things like that. So there's a little bit there. But we have to deal with like permitting and city permits if we're doing a beach wedding, rentals, getting the rentals out on the beach and things like that. So it's just a different.
It's different. I feel
like I think if I went to Chicago, I'd be like lost. You know, but and you'd be in a beach. You'd be like, wait, what?
What? Yeah.
Where's the elevator?
Thanks. What permit do I'd show up and be like, where's your permit? I'd be like,
I don't know. I'm just here. Take me back.
I'm here to
party.
City. Yeah.
Party. Can I offer you a shot? Shots fix everything.
Yeah, they do. But I don't drink when I'm working.
Have you always been a city person?
I have, but it's interesting. So yeah, I don't ever see myself leaving the city. I absolutely love it. You know, my husband and daughter.
You don't get like the whole I want country vibe and shit. Like
That's a great vacation, but but I do have to say it's interesting because my heart, I do love South Carolina, and because I got married here. Yeah. You know, so I have that love for, you know, the beautiful trees and the outdoor events. We just don't get a lot of that. And
it's so funny to look back on your wedding and like know that Sarah planned your wedding and now you're here planning weddings.
Yeah. It's
so do you like think like I was an amazing bride, or I was like, wow, I was really huge a pain in the ass to her?
So that's what I think. I think back more about it now, like, oh wow. Like I put it into perspective when I was a bride, and you know, I think I was a perfect bride, obviously.
Why would I not be perfect? My wedding was amazing and I was perfect.
Well, Sarah, she did a lot. There were some unexpected things actually for our wedding. The seamstress had messed up 13 of the bridesmaid dresses.
Stop. How? Were they too big or too small?
Mix. Just was a mix because they were like, I don't want to say custom made, but they were kind of like created.
For the seamstress. Is it somebody local? Wink twice. No.
Yeah, no. So there was actually somebody in Chicago, and then everyone traveled here, you know, with from Chicago with their dresses. So they were here a couple of days before the wedding, and Sarah was helping go to seamstresses here. That's amazing. So I'm pretty sure Sarah I'll have to pick up a few of those dresses wedding morning and bring them.
Now, did you do full planning with Sarah, or did you do?
No, I did month of coordination.
Did you?
I did.
Oh, she was really dedicated to you.
Yes, and she, I like, and my mother, it was
You
a
must
gift
have been
from,
nice, because she'd have been like, sorry.
Well, I mean, I planned a perfect wedding.
That's amazing. She would have been like, I don't know what to tell you about your dresses. Lose weight.
Yeah, right? No, so she went above and beyond, kind of the package.
That was we're just going to laugh the whole next hour. It's funny because we both know what we're thinking. Yeah. They don't have the little thing you can put over my mouth when you beep me out.
Yeah.
So I think it's funny because we talk constantly, but like your season's not my season.
No.
And like I think I have a different season than almost everybody. Like 'cause my summer is dead. Hurricane season, inclement weather, like, it looks like the sky's gonna fall and it's 15-minute shower. But you guys are like not as busy right now. And usually I don't get to come in and do the bridal show, and I don't get to do photo shoots in January because I am like incredibly busy. This happened to be a weekend where I didn't have a wedding, but my team was able to run. But like my season is like slamming right now, and then you're kind of chilling, but like when I'm busy, that's when you're calling me freaking out.
We both call each other and I'm like, I'm busy. So we're like half listening to each other.
Yeah. And we both know, like, it's funny because like none of us take offense when we're like, you're like, I like hear you slam. You're like, yeah, I hear, and he did what? Okay, yeah, just tell her this. Okay, goodbye. And I'm just like, okay, cool, let's do that. But like, and the same thing with you when I call you. Do you remember that time you called me and you were like, it was like 11 o'clock at night. You're like, hey, I had a couple margies.
No, because that probably happens a lot.
And then my husband's sitting there and he's like, who is on the phone? I'm like, it's Lauren. He's like, oh. Never mind.
Well, the time difference too, so.
Yes. So when we do Zooms
just
and
1
stuff
hour,
like that,
which just 1 hour, but like if we're calling each other in the evening, like it's a kind of a big.
It's like 11 and Lauren's like, hey.
Yeah. I think there's been a few times you've hit the FU button.
I have?
I think so.
I mean.
I think I woke your husband up one night.
I mean, that's fine. It's fine. He like knows you and loves you. And when you sent Randy a selfie. She sent her husband a selfie with Dame the other day, and he was like, "Who's that handsome SOB?" Yeah. We really need to get all the husbands of SMB on here. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, I feel like all of our husbands are so supportive and let us help us.
And this is normal, where we have a topic and then we just go this. We just do our own thing.
Yeah. What are we supposed to talk about?
Like topic? Forget it. No. So I moved to Florida. I was in 5th grade, so I've pretty much always been a beach person. It's funny though, because my kids are like, why don't we ever go to the beach anymore? And I'm like, because if we're sitting on the beach, we're 100% going to be like, why aren't we on the boat? This is stupid. Yeah. And I am not a huge fan of sand. I hate sand. Yeah. Sand irritates me.
It looks pretty.
It does look pretty, but like I have stuff in my emergency kit that you probably, like I have baby powder in my emergency kit because it takes the sand off the bride's feet and things like that, to where you're probably not even gonna.
No, I wouldn't.
You might use baby powder for other things.
Maybe someone's got to like powder their balls or something.
And there it goes, right down the drain.
I mean, hey, it gets sweaty in August in Chicago.
Tell us more. Yeah. Elaborate. I love that you look like a pageant queen. You're like, and their balls are sweaty, so it's fine.
We wear a lot of hats in the planning process. Oh. And on wedding day,
You've never been asked to powder, have you?
Never.
Oh, okay. I would be like, that's an additional charge, depending on the groomsman.
Yeah, true.
Maybe. I did a firefighter wedding. I'm like, powder, anybody? So back on topic. Yeah. You just told that a whole nother level. Comparing clientele. Do you think you have more? How are your people? Mine are. Some of mine are destination. Some of mine are like, I'm already on vacation. Yeah. But yours,
I think we have similar challenges for emotions and personalities. There's so many expectations that go into the day.
There is.
But I would say I don't have as many destination weddings as you.
No, I feel like I have people who come from Chicago, come from New York, come from Boston to me. And then I'm like, oh, we have offices up there, and they're like, oh my God, that's so funny. So it's funny because I have a wedding now that lives in Miami, and they booked me, and then they were like, we're going to do our wedding in Atlanta. And I was like, oh, well, I have a planner in Atlanta. So me and Hannah have been chatting, and she's been sending me like different ideas for venues and things like
perfect.
that.
Yeah, because she knows.
She knows the area. So, and she's like, whatever you need help on. And, of course, like Alyssa, I think, got an inquiry for like the keys or something like that recently. And I was like, let me know what you need. I'd be happy to help. So it's kind of nice that we have that little bit of taking over the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because it's great. I mean, we all have a similar way that we do things, but we know our areas best. So it's great that we can lean it.
And you've had a couple inquiries for like island weddings, haven't you?
I have. I was just like, I'm going to give you to our destination specialist because I
love that you gave me that title.
Yeah, I just feel like why, if someone that knows an area, you're gonna be able to give them the best experience, start to finish. That I'd rather, extend them to you.
It's definitely different. Like I think one of them has a wedding in Greece this year. I think Hannah does. I know somebody got an inquiry for Italy, and I'm just like, my suitcase is packed.
Yeah, I'm ready. Like, there's my suitcase. Yeah.
And my glass of red wine. Let's go. What do you have a different size of weddings? Like, do you have a larger weddings? Do you have smaller weddings? What are you finding the trend being now?
Yeah, I would say I'm ranging about 150 to 250 is my average. Yeah.
I get everything. I get like 50 people because it's destination. Oh, we're only flying in the family.
So not many people. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I do have a lot who like, they're coming down, they're doing their wedding, and then they're jumping on a cruise ship the next day, which I've had before. And they just kind of ship me all their setup items, and then I charge them and I ship them everything back at like a week after their honeymoon.
Yeah, that's
so it's kind of nice because they're like, oh, this is so nice. I don't have to worry about bringing everything or packing everything or anything like that.
Yeah, it would be, I mean, several other suitcases to, and hopefully they're arriving on time and things aren't damaged. Yeah, that's great that you do that.
Do you find that your city is like a little bit more of a vibe? Like, is your wedding design, is your wedding decor, is that like reflective of your location, or do you find it like differently?
Yeah, I definitely, my couples really like to play into the cityscape for sure. Because they'll have travelers coming in, so they want what's local. We have some really great deep dish pizza, and then the skyline.
That would be a fun like late night.
Yeah.
I love that.
And with the deep dish, people kind of think that it's like heavy and sloppy and one of those big pieces because like you could fork and knife it. We're doing it late night in these like cute little squares, so they're still getting a taste of Chicago, but they aren't. It's not like you're trying to balance this big piece of pizza. They can go back to dancing. So yeah, I would say I do see leaning into that garden vibe. Which we still have venues that allow that. We do have indoor, outdoor spaces, so I think it fits. But I don't see a lot of tropical events. I do have to say, like in the aspect of bringing in, tropical linens and the, but I am seeing people trending to more color, which I am
love. Too. And I used to do, like, even when I planned my own wedding, I did like more of the not necessarily the location, but more of the time of year. So it was an October wedding, so it was like very fall themed and browns and burnt oranges and things like that. But I did a wedding in November, and they did blues and pinks and purples and lavenders, and I was like, okay. And it was beautiful. It felt very springy inside, but it was a November wedding, and I kind of like that people are stepping outside the box.
Right.
Mine, I agree with you because I've seen some of your blogs and some of your posts, and I see yours as like rich and bold and black linens and like really striking.
Moodier, a little moodier.
Yes, moodier and more like really striking vision. Whereas mine are more
light and airy.
Some of them are light and airy. Some of them, I mean, I've had some that are like extreme tropical, which is not necessarily my selection, but I always tell them like, you pick it, I stick it type of a thing. But that's a professional term.
It is.
So,
it is. I'm not laughing.
So yeah, but it's like, I mean, I've walked into a ballroom and it looks like Rainforest Cafe. There's like, birds of paradise everywhere. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I mean,
okay, we're leaning. We're really leaning into
bamboo arches. And I'm like, okay, like that's cool. Like, when's the elephant going to go off when dinner comes out? But, it's one of those things where it's like,
welcome to the jungle.
They love it. So it's like, hey, you're good. Welcome to the jungle. I did have a DJ when we were setting up. He like played an elephant sound and like he played like island music. I'm like, stop it right now. I can't keep a straight face. Stop it right now.
Stop it. Yeah. I mean, I would, but that's the thing is because you see it so much. I would love to have like a fun, even if it's just a birthday party or something that has more of a tropical vibe.
Yeah. And mine are a little bit everywhere. Like mine, I mean, like I love Sarah's vibe for the South Carolina weddings, like the tented and the lounge furniture and couches and bringing in everything. And I don't get much of that, but I do love when I get to kind of get creative.
Yes.
I have a bride recently who all of our stages just has the skirting. So I literally sent her a picture of Sarah's wedding, and I sent my rental company. I was like, can you do this stage facade on the front? And they were like, we'll build it now. That's amazing. Nobody has it. Like, we'll totally build that. I was like, sweet.
Yeah. That's
so cool. Now I know somebody who has it. What do you think is like what works against your environment? Now I know we had this conversation the other day, and there might have been alcohol involved, but
never with us.
No, never. And I was like, I wouldn't. We were talking about doing a photo shoot in Chicago, and I was like, no, I can't. Yeah. It's like a windy city, or like it's not really windy.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, my hair will blow everywhere. Like we can't do a photo shoot.
Yeah,
there.
everyone calls it the windy city. It's really not because it's that windy. I don't think our city's any windier than
it's like the breezy city.
Yeah, we're
Is
breezy.
it fake?
Yeah,
it's fake.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about your events on the beach. I would imagine that's windier.
Oh, the beach. Yeah, like I tell every bride, put your hair up. Just put it up because you're gonna get that picture where it's like across your face.
Oh yeah.
Put it up, and then even if you do a first look and you're out there for pictures, I recommend always doing like a touch up right before. Let's do like an hour of power right before. Get all the girls retouched up before ceremony. But I mean, I like
touch up. Sorry, speaking of touch up, something I've been seeing as a trend, let me know if you were to have it as well. The hair and makeup teams are actually creating packages where they're there for half day or full day. So like you said, those touch-ups, especially the beach, right? They'll go out, especially if you're doing first look, they'll go out there, do their photos, but that hair and makeup team stays. Maybe it's not for the whole bridal party, but it's for the bride or and then, so then they are, looking fresh before they walk down the aisle, or they're doing a hair change. Yeah.
No, it's true because I have, and one of my main companies that I use a lot, she does an hour of power. And we always want to know about that because I incorporate it into my timeline. And if the bride and groom are still doing like first look and stuff like that, we can finish bridal party photos, get the bridal party back in. And then same thing like getting ready. I want the bride to go last. So I have her super fresh right before ceremony.
Yeah.
And get her veil put in and all that stuff as well. Do you have any other challenges with weather since it's not windy and that's all fake?
I would say it's just a constant challenge, like because Chicago's weather is so inconsistent.
Oh, I've been watching a show and it's like freezing, and then in like half hour into the show, he's like, "What is with this weather?" And it's like snowing.
That really is us.
Yeah.
So like it could be pouring rain and I know that's similar with Florida where you can have rain and then it clears up, but it's not like that. It will be like freezing one day and then the next day the sun is out and you want to be, so it's just this constant change and you can never really predict it. So if we're looking at weather a week out, as of course we do as planners,
change in 2 seconds.
Yeah, that I'm like, and the bride might be getting worried, or I'm like, honestly, it's going to change in the next 2 hours, let alone 2 days.
And I think we always add a little cushion to our ceremony because I have our ceremony down for half hour, 45 minutes. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's probably 15 to 20 minutes. So even if we walk a little bit late, and I always say I'm never walking you to an empty ceremony. So we have that cushion in there.
Right.
But that's the thing is like we have a little time. I had one bride who was like, I'm not moving it in. It was pouring on my way to the wedding. And she's like, I'm not moving it in. And the venue's calling me. They're like, we have to make this rain call. I said, she says she's not moving in. She goes, I don't care if I stand out there in the pouring rain. I'm getting married outside. I'm like, I love your dedication, but your guests aren't being seated. Like, they don't want to sit down.
They won't. Yeah, they're probably taking cover.
They're taking cover.
They're pissed off. And,
And she was like, she was calling.
Pissed, but
no, they were pissed. Because they were like, we're not going out there. Like, we're not going out there. So it was like 20 minutes into ceremony, and I said, she's like, what's the holdup? I was like, she goes, well, it's raining. And I said, they won't be seated in the rain. And then the lightning bolts start coming down. And I was like, we're doing this now. Like, we're moving this now. And she's like, okay. And they sometimes brides don't realize, like, it's okay because it's delayed. But no, it's like once you get into
That's affecting dancing time.
It's affecting everything because they think, well, I'll just delay the whole reception. No, we're not going to stay till 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, DJ's not going to stay. Catering's not going to stay.
End time is still end time.
End time is still end time. So we definitely, we moved everything in. It was a stunning ceremony. She was happy. We moved everything along. And a lot of times, how it is on the timeline. We can do and make up that time quick.
We can make it up. Yes, I always say that
peasy.
too. And I mean, it's a safety thing too. If it's, lightning now,
Well, and that's the thing is lightning. And the wedding we did in the Bahamas, it was no rain the whole weekend. And then right at cocktail hour, which was not covered, it started raining. And it wasn't like a hard pour, but it was like a 20-minute drizzle. And Sarah Savannah was there and my team was there. And we just literally, there was no tent. It was in the Bahamas. There's no tent you can get in there, things like that. Everything had to be shipped in anyway. But we literally put we dried off all the plates, we dried off all the napkins, we threw the napkins in the dryer, we brought everything out. We literally beach towels dried off everything. By the time cocktail hour was over, it was fine. And everybody danced the night away. But it was one of those, like, there is no backup plan.
Right. Thankfully,
like,
it cleared up.
You just pray.
Yeah.
Stop raining, please. Like,
we do,
today.
We do that a lot too, where, you know, we just run out, dry the chairs, wait, you know, and.
Yeah. Do you have, now I know you've done a few Indian weddings. I've done some Persian weddings.
Yeah, they're super fun.
They're really fun, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
I love learning new cultures.
I do too.
And traditions.
I love when they explain it to me and I'm like, this is so cool. And then I go home and I do some research and I'm like, the same thing. Like, I love learning the new cultures. I love learning new traditions. I love learning why they do those traditions at each wedding. Because I think I'm like I sponge it in. So I really want to know everything.
We celebrate love, obviously. We love love. And you know, I think it's important to me to bring out the love of the couple, the personalities, but also their family traditions, whatever it might be. Is it playing a song, you know, your family likes to dance to? Or is it a culture, you know, the different things, I think it's really fun to bring that into the day. Like, for instance, I had an Indian wedding last year in November, and they do a really beautiful henna night the night before. And they invited me, you know, which was so nice because, you know, that's a very intimate event. And it allowed me to see, you know, kind of their traditions and just feel part of the family.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a wedding. They did, they had a huge football Sunday after the wedding. They invited a whole bunch of barbecue and they were like, we'd love to have your team come over and like
the day after the wedding?
The day after the wedding, have the whole barbecue. Yeah, I told her mom was so sweet, and I texted her and I was like, there's a good chance I'm not leaving my couch and I'm not putting a bra on. And she was like, she wrote back, she's like, now I'm jealous and I'm coming to your house. So I was like, okay, come on over. So, but things like that too. And the same thing with the Persian weddings. The music is different. The setup for ceremony is very different. They do a tradition where they have a mirror on the table and they have to, like, that's how they see each other for the first time. So the groom's back is towards the bride, but every wedding's different. Even Jewish weddings are very, very different.
Just how they incorporate those traditions. Like, I do a lot of different Jewish weddings, but each one has a different take,
different
a
twist.
Little bit on
Exactly.
the, you know, just like Christian or other, but it's interesting to see how they,
we did a Jewish one on New Year's Eve and it was stunning. It was supposed to be about 200 people. And they did do a first look because they had the ketubah signing and things like that. So some of them don't, some of them do. But either way, like under the chuppah and all the family traditions, I love it. I love it. I feel like a sponge. I'm just soaking in all the different things. If we could do planner swap.
Oh,
and you could, okay, let's do that. You want to do that?
Yeah. And
no, I'd be like a lost dog. I just sit there and be like,
so be in a different.
Yeah, if we could do a planner swap for an event, what would be like your questions for your bride? Like, if you come to Palm Beach and you're doing a wedding, what would be like, would you feel like completely out of place? Because I know I'd be like, I have a little bit of city background with Miami. Did I tell you about when my car got towed in Miami?
You did. And
that
what
sucked.
time? That was late, right?
It was midnight in Miami. I was getting sex trafficked. I knew it. 100%. I was like, I had like 3 young girls with me. I was like, take them.
Yeah,
they're young.
It was late. And
I have a C-section scar. So I was like, I go, once they see how old I am, I'm safe. You guys
just throw you
guys are screwed, but I'm good. But it was one of those, I parked across the parking lot. It was a public parking lot. It was a shopping center. And then it turned into, it was very, very sketchy because Miami is like the top like human trafficking location in the world. We came out at midnight and they were like, where's your car? And I was like, my car was literally had like decals and logos all over it, advertising the company. Mm-hmm. They could have looked at my car and called me and said, come move your car.
Right. Oh, your phone numbers.
It's literally posted across it 3 times. Yeah. So what happened was when I came back out, there was a towing sign. So I called and I was like, oh, do you have my, and I gave him the make and model. And he said, oh yeah, we have it here. And I was like, okay, we'll be there in a minute. And we tried to call an Uber and an Uber pulled up in 2 seconds. And I was like, okay, that was weird. Yeah. So he pulled up, we all got in the van for an Uber. And he said, do you mind if I make a phone call? And I don't Uber often because I don't.
And I Uber all the time, but that's a weird.
Yeah, so I was like, no, that's fine. And then he made a phone call and it rang 3 times and he hung up. And one of the girls with me, who's like young and cute and fun and does all this all the time, she held up her phone to me and it said, that's not normal. 3 rings means 3 girls. And I was like, wait, what? So now I'm like freaking out, sweating. I'm texting like, this is where I am. This is who I'm with. Like, shit, something. So we get to the, it was probably 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. We get to the tow lot. And I was like, well, I'll have them to my key. They'll bring my car out. And she's like, yeah, they will. So he goes, come on in and get your car. I mean, it's like barbed wire fencing all around. Yeah. I'm walking with the girls. Dark. I'm like, dark. It's with the girls. I'm like, stay together. I was like, does anybody see my car? Does anybody see my car? And they're like, there it is. And I was like, run. And we jumped in the car, locked the doors, and they were like, what if they shut the gate behind us? I was like, I don't care. Go. Like, I will jump through the gate.
Blow through that
I'm going through the gate. Like, we're getting home. And at that point, you don't even know because your car was towed. You don't know if they put the air tags on it, if they're following you.
Oh,
I mean, they picked the wrong girl because I had an hour and a half drive home. Yeah. But I'm like thinking, well, oh my God. It was, so when I got the tag, even sketchier, when I got the tag from the receipt from paying for my thing, for the tow, they towed my car like 5 minutes after I parked. Because I knew when I arrived at the wedding, and I was like, oh my God, they were watching us. They knew how many girls got out of the car. They knew everything.
And thank goodness, though, just makes me think, because if it was 5 minutes, because sometimes I'll do multiple trips for my car. So let's say you had, boxes, but there was something you didn't need till like later. You know what I mean? And you were going to go later and grab it, or you needed more hands, so you were going to come back and get something, and your car's gone. Thank goodness you had everything.
I had everything. It was like we had loaded all onto a luggage truck, but I don't go to any hotel without valet parking now. I'll wait. And a lot of times in Miami, do you valet? Do you have to valet in the city or no?
I do, just because of the convenience. Because if I'm circling around trying to find parking or get towed, or because we have the app where you can pay for parking on your phone. But if I'm busy with a client, I'm not gonna, helping a bride or groom, I'm not gonna be like, hold on, I gotta pay my parking. So there's too many variables where a
lot of times I valet, but a lot of times if I tell them like what I'm doing or who I'm meeting, they just validate it so I don't have to pay for valet.
Yes.
Which is nice.
That's nice, yes.
But I like kind of load everything onto a luggage rack and go. But in Miami, I mean, I've waited for valet for my car for, it's midnight and I'm like sitting there for my car for like 30 minutes. I just want to go home. Like, I'm tired. Is it coming? Yeah, it's like 30 minutes waiting for my car, and I'm just kind of like, come on, So that's why I started parking. I was like, I'm not waiting for valet at the end of the night. I'm smarter than the average bear. And then, and then I almost get sex trafficked in my car towed, so it's fine. Well, and I was like, as a planner, I did not plan for this.
Well, that too, and I feel like we learn from every wedding we do, no matter how many times we've worked an event or worked, we've done so many weddings, but I feel like every wedding you could probably go home and think, oh, what could I have done differently, or what did I learn today to do? Yeah, not that anything went wrong. It's just,
but you learn something. You learn what works better, what's more time efficient, what was easier, and especially at each venue. Like I learned, like certain venues only allow certain things, so it's like a bride will call me and even an inquiry, and she's like, oh, I want to do a sparkler grand exit. I'm gonna get the huge ones. I'm like, that venue won't allow those huge ones. We need to get 20 inches. That's the max, and she's like, oh, okay. So just even little rules and regulations of each venue are so different. Some venues are like totally fine with cold sparks. Some venues are like, don't even bring that near us.
Yeah, no way.
So what do you think? And I know we went that way again. That's what we do.
Love chatting.
We talk. We should have got Starbucks on the way.
We should have.
That would have been fun. Maybe we could Uber Eats some Starbucks.
Okay.
Starbucks. Anybody?
I'll take a matcha.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you always have your matcha. So what do you think about swapping locations? Like, I think I'd be a little bit out of my element in a South Carolina wedding.
I would be so out of my element, and even though
you had yours here.
I had mine here, but I really didn't understand what it entails with the tent, and and I've done tented events. I've worked them, but I don't
do them often enough to keep
the wind and having the side rail, all of the things to make the event, logistically sound, but also enjoyable for the guests as they're dining, and sound. And I
think it's a lot with the catering as well. Like, if I'm renting glassware, flatware, plates, dishes, and I know we have a general idea of how many, and I always say, order more than less. You want more than less. Same thing with alcohol. When people are purchasing their own alcohol, order more. You can return it after, unopened bottles. But you don't want to be, we're out of that. That's like the worst.
I've had to run out and go to a liquor store for a couple before.
That wasn't for the couple, Lauren. Yeah. Let's be real. I had to run out and go to the liquor store for the wedding.
I think they ran out of vodka.
Yeah.
It's like a big...
For the wedding.
Yeah, for the wedding.
And I think it's same thing on that topic. When I did that Bahamas wedding, Sarah from Savannah was like, I'm coming. I want to do it. I want to do it. And I was like, careful what you wish for.
Yeah, right.
And she came down and she was, she was like, wait, what? And we were nonstop 14-hour days for about 3 to 4 days. It was like a Wednesday to a Sunday.
Yeah, especially because you don't have a lot on that island where you're.
It's not like you can just run to the store and buy something. Everything had to be shipped from Nassau and other islands. It was a lot. We had our Miami florist fly in. She shipped all the florals. She put them together and flew home that night. We had hair and makeup artists fly in because there's just not.
That opens up the door for so many things,
Well, yeah, and I had the other Bahamas wedding that there was a horrible storm and none of the flights could come in. Right. So a lot of her vendors were stuck. So there's always something. Let's see. If you were talking, Lauren, what advice would I give you if you had an island wedding?
Ooh.
Run. No. Don't do it.
I mean, too, oh my goodness.
I always say for every island wedding, I would charge more. And I have.
Yeah.
But it never seems enough.
Yeah, because I feel like, too, just the heat alone at times.
The heat was exhausting. So
Not that we can't withstand all weather, but it's just
for sure, but I had to plan on the first time I went, we wore our regular dry fit shirts and everything was fine. It was sleeveless. And the amount of sunscreen I went through, and it was the sun in Bahamas is completely different than the sun in normal locations.
Oh, yeah.
You burn. Sunscreen doesn't even matter. So I actually went and bought the whole team dry fit rash guards with our logo on the top so that when we were setting up, we were protected, but we were also still in uniform on some level.
I mean, you can get there's all the
Everything. And the last thing you want is sun poisoning or heat exhaustion when you have a wedding to plan and execute and put together. What advice would you give me for a city wedding?
Ooh, city wedding. I would tell you that you really need to make sure that you are in contact with your transportation drivers.
Oh, that's a good one.
Just I will, of course, I help secure it, but the week of, I'm talking to them. And of course, you don't know the driver at that time, but I'm talking to them the day before. I'm calling the driver in the morning, going over the route, and I'm now printing out the route. And then as soon as the driver arrives, I request that they call me. I come down from the hotel or wherever it might be. I'm going in. I'm again going over the route.
Yeah.
Because we've just had so many incidences where they've gone to the wrong address, even when it's on the timeline. You know, or they take a longer route, and all of that affects. As you know, it's a ripple effect.
Oh, for sure.
So I would say that's the biggest challenge.
We had one that went to the wrong address, and the bride kept calling me, and she's like, he's not here. I have first look, he's not here. And I was like, wait. And I called him, and I was like, where are you? He was like, oh, I'm at this hotel. I was like, that's not the right hotel. He goes, oh, I slipped up the address, wrong one. And he's like, I'll be there in about 20 minutes. I was like, no. So I threw my keys to my lead planner. I was like, go get my bride. She's like, okay. She went over there, got her mom, and brought her over, and everything was fine. But
it adds of course, just it sounds like a little hiccup in the day, but first look is this moment you've been planning for a year, and then you're now just standing there waiting for your car. You want each
that
thing
moment. Smooth, seamless, and you don't want your bride stressed out.
No,
and stupid things like that.
Them to feel
I have a company that won't give me the driver's number, which drives me insane because I'm like, no, I need the driver's number.
I have a company that does that too, and it's but how are we going to be in contact today?
We had a wedding last year in Miami, and they had transportation for all of their guests, and the guests were getting there, and everything was fine, and I didn't know anything was wrong, and then. The groom came to me and he said, the guest said that they had to Uber. And I was like, wait, what? We rented a bus. So I called the company and he said, yeah, well, the bus driver pulled up to the hotel, but they wouldn't let him park there. So
he just took off?
He left.
So just F it. All right, well, don't have to work today.
I was I go, why didn't he make rounds then? He just went home? Yeah. He knew he had no guests on the entire 55 passenger bus.
See, that's...
He's like, well, I tried. Bye.
Yeah, it's
and I was like, wait, what? And we called to get a refund. And he was like, no, we're not giving you a refund. He showed up. It's not his fault they wouldn't let him park there. I'm like, but he went home. He didn't do anything.
Wow.
Some of that's just
transportation is
kind of mind-blowing. That's like me showing up to the wedding and being like, well, the bride's not here yet.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Well, her hair and makeup's not done yet, so I guess
I'm going to go home.
Call me tomorrow.
One thing we have in common that we chit chat a lot about, and you're at the level I was at a few years ago, but we are girl moms.
Yes.
All girl moms.
Yes.
Mine are 15 and my little one is 12. She'll be turning 13 in April. And Scarlett is
7. She'll be 8 in March. And I just have 1. So, yeah, so I can imagine 2 is, but girls are the best.
The estrogen is super fun when they're all synced up and fun.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm seeing that at the age of 7, that kind of starting.
Are you
that
getting
little
sassiness?
A little sassiness. She's the sweetest girl, but, to mom, I see this building,
The butting heads, yeah.
And when I hear you on the phone or, when we're chatting, I hear the girl, you tell me about your challenges as a mom, and it's like, all right, I'm gearing up. I know how I was as a only child. So
You were perfect. Stop.
You're right.
She's like, you're right. I was amazing. Next interview with Lauren's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine are, and I think that's the thing is, when I see my girls being so polite and when they order their off the menu and they're like, may I please have chicken tenders?
Yes,
and I'm like,
so
okay, I'm doing my job. And then they look at me like death stare and, like they could stab me, walk over my lifeless body and keep going. And I said to her the other day, I was taking her to school and I dropped her off and I go, can I have a kiss goodbye? And she looked at me like a mixture of, she smelled something bad and I spoke a different language. And she was like,
how dare you?
And I was like, I'm sorry, that was a stupid question. Like, why would you kiss me goodbye? I'm such an idiot.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Have a great day. I embarrass Scarlett now, and she's 7. If I don't get the door unlocked fast enough, so with her school, we're in the city, so she's in a private
like
school.
3, 2, 1.
Yes, no, literally, I didn't get the door unlocked fast enough for when the teacher was getting her in, and she was just like. I was just like, oh my gosh.
You need to create a timeline for pickup things.
Yeah, it's so embarrassing.
I know. Don't ask her for a kiss goodbye. Good God. It was, and Damien said the other day, my husband said that to her the morning, because Bella's not a morning person. And it's kind of like you just kind of wave gently.
Yeah.
Gianna's like, good morning. They could not be more opposites, like they were raised by different parents. Gianna is very outgoing and fun and chatty and loud. And Bella is just like, why are you talking to me? I think Bella's more me. But Damien said the other day, he goes, good morning, Bella. And she goes, morning. And he looks at me and goes, oh, she spoke. I was like, ooh.
And that's like a win. Like that's a win for the day.
It's going to be a good day.
Yeah, it's going to be
Gianna
a good day.
will hug everybody and hi and very happy and bubbly at 15 and loves hugging everybody. And Bella just looks at him like, I'm not.
Why are you talking?
Hugging him. Yeah. And she'll come in and she's like, he did this and he did that. And I'm like, he. And she's like, yeah, he. And I'm like, your dad? Yeah. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, well, you could say dad. Like, she's like, I don't want to. I was like, but he is. Yeah. Like, that hasn't changed.
That's still his name.
So it's like one of those things. And it's definitely challenging. It's middle school. It's high school. It's whole different bunch of factors. It's a very weird transition from middle school to high school. Gianna's starting high school, and she's having a little bit of a balancing act between previous relationships and new relationships, and kind of being more open-minded because she's so very routine. She's very routine and very planner and very does everything. But Gianna could also sleep with dirty clothes in her bed and not make her bed for a week and be perfectly happy with everything. And Bella has a label on everything and it's organized. And if people come over, I'm like, go to Bella's room.
Yeah.
Please don't walk in Gianna's room.
Yeah. It's nice that you have that mix too, and it keeps it interesting. But I feel like the big,
interesting is a good word. Yeah.
Yeah. But I know we have the challenges with just personalities and having girls, but I feel like the biggest struggle as a working mom is in having these amazing daughters is having that balance of giving our clients our all but giving our family and daughters, especially as girls get older. I feel like they need just different type of attention. And then also I think which is great, they find interest in what we do.
Yeah. And I think it's hard working weekends too.
Yeah.
Because and one thing I always tell my girls is don't abuse it, but if you ever need me and I'm at a wedding, you always call me. You always text me. You always call me, which works. They do. And I had to kind of put a little bit of a squish on it because I would get, mommy, call me now. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, what's wrong? I'm like, ceremonies, processional music starting. I'm like, what's wrong? I just saw this thing on TV that I really want for Christmas. Like, wait, what? I'm sorry, what now?
Like, I'm getting the bride down the aisle.
Call me if you're bleeding.
Yeah, bye. Oh my gosh, that makes me remember. So I did a wedding in Lake Geneva. It was beautiful. Just a lot of moving parts. So I was in my family. So was wonderful. Randy, my husband, and Scarlett came, and they, of course, were just at the hotel. I was off site at the venue.
Randy helped you with weddings?
There's been some where I've literally been like, where are you? Drive here now. I need labor.
I need
like
man.
I need
I need man.
I need manpower. Yeah. And it's been great. But this one specifically, I'm getting, so Scarlett now is 7, so she can read, she can write. She doesn't have a phone, but she had Randy's phone. So they're at the hotel. I'm working hard over here, and I'm getting texts. Please, mommy, respond. Mommy, respond. Please call me back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I looked down. She wanted a $75 stuffed animal. I didn't even know
Squishmallows are a big deal.
I didn't even know stuffed animals could be $75. And she said, Daddy said, if you said okay. I was like reading this, and I was just like, kept putting it back because I'm obviously busy, making dreams come true. And then she doesn't stop. And then finally I'm like, fine, stop texting me. So we have the $75 stuffed animal that she's never looked at.
Never looked at it again, but she had to have it right then.
It pisses me off every time I look at it. I'm not kidding. It was
$75. Stuffed animal.
I mean, it was like, I was like, when I got back to the hotel, it was like 1:30 in the morning. I'm excited. I'm like, let me see this stuffed animal.
Yeah.
Like
this thing better get up and make dinner in the morning.
Seriously, is it going to massage my feet? Because they hurt.
You're like laying there with your feet on the stuffed animal when she gets up the next day. Yeah, I think that's the thing is I never want them to feel like my job is more important than them. But at the same time, like there has to be a balance to where the girls, they like what I do. They say they don't want to do what I do. But I tell you, I had Gianna in the office over Christmas break, and she was like, came in like, I'm not doing anything. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, and she's like, I don't want to do this when I get older. I was like, okay. And then she's like, I said, well, I was going to have you work on a timeline and do the first couple pages of a timeline. And she was like, fine. So then she starts getting such an attitude. I was like, no, you're doing a timeline. So she did the first 2 pages, loved it, asked to do another one, loved it. She's like, am I getting paid? I'm like, yeah. Do you remember that house you live in for free?
Right.
That's your payment.
Exactly.
It's called, you're an intern. She's like, paid internship? I was like, that's an employee and they have experience? No. So she did it. She loved it. I did have Bella. I don't have them help me with weddings right now because I feel like it's a lot and I don't ever want to like be like, why aren't you doing this? Type of a thing. Yeah. And I think that they would lose interest pretty quickly. But plus it's late. It's very late, like 11 to 12 o'clock at night. I have had Bella help me with a wedding. Gianna's up to bat. She says, I get the next one. And it was a brunch wedding.
Oh.
She got up early. She had her S&B polo on, her little black pants. She put gloves on. She put the donut wall up. She was helping us put the arch together. Yeah. She was amazing. She loved it. And she made $10 an hour, which, I mean, I'm down for cheap employment. Yeah. So
for her,
she made $10 an hour. And it was so funny because she was like, how long have I been here? How many hours are left? And the whole day, because she was saving her money. She wanted Lululemon shorts or something. And I was like, I'm not paying that. I'm not buying for that.
But
so she worked a wedding and she saved her money. And I took her to the store and she goes, I made $60. I made $70. I'm like, and you know what? For 12 years old, that's like good.
That's great. And I think it sets a really good example of like, our clients are so important to us. I think
exactly.
You know how passionate we are, but like also know why we're away from you because we are, working hard so that we can give you $75 stuffed animals or Lululemon.
Well, that's the thing. And so I tell them all the time, I'm like, do you think I don't want to be home with you? And I said, of course I want to be home with you. Except when they're arguing that I'm like, I'm going to have a wedding today.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye. Yeah. My poor husband's like, no, I'll help too today.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is I want to be home with you, but at the same time, I think I appreciate like this is why we get to go on vacation. This is why this is responsibilities that I have that I signed up for. Just like when you have responsibilities in school, you have to execute them. But that's the thing is it's definitely a balancing act. And the same thing with just meetings at night. I have a bride who's like, can I meet you at 7? Can I meet you at 8? And I'm like, I try to do one late night a week, but I really try. I mean, I'm missing soccer practice and I only get so many soccer practices in life before she's over it. And things like that. So it's definitely a balance. But on the way here, we drove up and we were driving Thursday night. So a bride wanted to do a Zoom at 8 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I'm in the car with my hotspot. I'm like, hi. And I was like, I just realized how creepy I look under this one light.
It's probably really dark and
dark and it's just my head. I'm like holding my flashlight and I'm like, hello. And she's like dying laughing. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm in the road for 5 hours. So.
Right. And I love opportunities like that though, where it's like, I'm on the road. I'm not taking, like let's knock it out.
Exactly. I think it's definitely, even the balancing, and I don't want my brides to feel like I've let them down because I can't do a late night meeting.
No,
it's not that I can't. I just can't do it every night. I can do it like on a Tuesday or something like that. When do you think you're going to start recruiting Scarlett?
Well, it's funny because she really does take interest in it. I don't know if that will shift, but right now she's like, I want to be a wedding planner. And I'm like, are you sure? Just kidding.
Let's talk about this a little bit.
But no, she really takes interest in helping. But she's in that age. I want to help. Yeah. But there's only so many things because obviously I want everything to be perfect. So if we're working on, sometimes I help clients with favors or things like that. We're putting a little sticker on or something. But she really takes joy in that and wants to. So I try to find little tasks like that, like you could put these in this bag or whatever, just so she feels like she's helping. And but it's that age where they want
and even things like bathroom baskets, welcome bags, things like that. The girls love doing stuff like that. Gianna really did great on the timeline. She really took her time doing it because she when they fill out the weekend form and it has certain names and addresses and it doesn't have the contact information, she would look up the website and she would find it. And little things like that. I can have her start updating stuff. And then of course I send everything to Amara because Amara's like the champ in the office and she goes over everything.
Yeah, but it's great that, I think work ethic is really important.
It is. And I think they learn to earn stuff, learn to earn it. And I always tell them if they want to do it when they grow up, it's ready for them. But I would never this is what you're going to do when you grow up. I know my grandmother did that to my mom about nursing school and stuff like that. And it was kind of like, I don't want to do that. And it's totally fine if you don't, you have to make your own path. But if you do, let's roll. Let's start planning now. Let's start planning now because that's what we do.
I've seen some really cool. I went with Sarah and Peyton actually. When we went to New York, we went and there was a really good event where they had some very good planners. Very established, and it was a mother and daughter team, and it was fun. And I never really thought, oh, Scarlett's going to be a planner or anything like that. I kind of just focusing on the business now. But I was like, wow, that's so interesting because it was this mother who had was the planner for many years, very successful, and then the daughter, was brought on, and she's now in her 20s, had graduated college, and it was interesting because the mom had a certain way of doing things. But the daughter was younger, just there's newer ways. And she was actually kind of bettering the daughter coming better this just because there's new things that come and she
little
learns.
Things that trends and things that change.
Yeah, exactly. Or just technology or the way that things are communicated. And I was like, oh, that's inspiring. I thought that was really
and I find that because I'm a mom of girls, I connect with mother of the bride. Because I know I'm going to be that person.
Oh,
and
totally.
I connect with her and I feel like
I get you.
And when I'm even when I'm meeting them, she's like, oh, I'm going to do a Zoom with my mom. And I'm like, congratulations. I'm like, this is a mother of the bride's a big deal too. As a mom of girls, I'm a basket case when moms walk in. I'm like, oh God.
I feel like there's that bond.
Exactly. It's definitely a different, and I feel like it's more comfortable too, because you're not just some young girl planning their wedding. You have that relationship on some level to where you know what you would expect as a mother of the bride paying for a planner, as well as, the bride and what she wants too. And it's a balancing act with that too.
It totally is. Yeah, I completely agree. And it's lovely because they just want their daughter's dreams to come true. They want to be happy. And they want them to be happy. And I see that love, and I want them to feel a part of the process too. Because a lot are it's her decision, but they might be paying in some aspects, and they just like to just be in the know. And I really try to make an effort for that because
now my kids, when my girls get me, they're not going to say so because I know what's best.
Yeah, obviously.
Welcome to my wedding.
Yeah. That will be us for sure.
So for sure. Well, I think it's time to wrap it up. Thank you. I'm going to miss you. I know we talk all the time when we FaceTime, and
I know.
We had a little fashion show for our photo shoot the other night. And
that was fun. We'll leave that for a different podcast, though.
I love it. You're like, oh, I like that one. No, you're not wearing that.
I was like, nope, absolutely not. I love
Go
that.
Change.
Looking hot.
Stop. Why are you putting this on in front of me? Totally. So, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love you. I miss you. I will talk to you probably
in a couple hours.
When you're on the road. Oh, yeah, I'm on the road. You're on the plane. Thank you, everybody, for listening to our podcast once again. This Takes the Cake. I'm Jackie from South Florida.
I'm Lauren from Chicago.
We'll join you next time.